In August 1993, 27-year-old Kelly Cahill, her husband, and three children were driving home after a visit to a friend's house. As they drove home on a familiar route, they suddenly came upon a light so bright they were almost blinded. As Kelly covered her eyes from the intense light with her hands over her eyes, she frantically asked her husband, "What are you going to do?" Her husband responded, frightened himself, that he would keep on driving. Within what seemed like only a second or two, Kelly was now very relaxed, suddenly calmed by the disappearance of the intense, glowing light that had turned night into day for a brief few moments. The first words out of Kelly's mouth were, "What happened? Did I black out?" But her husband had no answer to give her, as he cautiously continued driving his family home. Upon their safe arrival, Kelly could smell a horrific odor, like vomit, and she suddenly felt as though something was missing from the drive home. Indeed, something was missing. The family had lost an hour or so of time, and no one could recall where it went. That night, as Kelly undressed for bed, she noticed a strange, triangular mark on her stomach. It was a mark she had never seen before. It must have been created earlier in the night, but Kelly wondered how and why, and most importantly, by whom. Kelly would suffer from fatigue for the next 2 weeks and was taken to the hospital on two occasions, one for a severe stomach pain and another for a uterine infection. Soon, Kelly would begin to remember details of that fearful night as her memory surrounding it came back. She recalled seeing the object they had seen in a slightly different place than she first remembered. It was hovering in a gully, and the UFO was massive, around 150 feet in diameter. Kelly also remembered that when the object was first spotted, her husband had stopped the car, and both she and her had gotten out of the vehicle and walked in the direction of the ship, not scared. Kelly believed they were being subconsciously drawn to the enigmatic, otherworldly craft. In a surprise, they noticed another car stopped on the side of the road. As they walked down toward the craft, they saw a creature unlike either of them had ever seen before. It was black, but not in color. It was devoid of color, but she could see bodily features. Kelly believed it was soulless. It was as if all matter was removed where its presence was. The black alien was taller than an average man, about 7 feet tall, and its eyes were large, like a fly's, glowing red. After being mesmerized by the sight of the being, she saw more of them. Heaps of them is how Kelly described them as she stared into the open field. The aliens were out there in the field beneath the immense flying craft. The beings seemed to congregate in small groups, and one group glided in the air toward Kelly and her husband, covering 100 yards in a matter of seconds. Another group was approaching the other car, which sat motionless near the hovering craft. Kelly felt that the creatures were evil. She clung to her husband, fighting the feeling of blacking out. Her great fear and dread would cause her to scream at the alien-looking entities to leave them alone. She remembered going unconscious. Then she woke back up in the car. As strange as this encounter seems, the occupants from the other car would come forward and corroborate Kelly's story. The occupants would tell almost the exact same story, a story of abduction, mind control, and embarrassing procedures. Kelly recalled through dreams the black alien stooping over her helpless, nude body. From all indications of the descriptions of the aliens, they were intruding into our dimension, taking space in our universe, yet without solid form. though shapes, heads, eyes, and arms could be distinguished. Strangely, this case parallels another UFO case, which happened in 1928 in Leicester, England, which had translucent apparent beings as well. That said, many UFO researchers believe these strange and eerie beings were from a parallel universe and slipped into our world. Others say they too were from a not distant future. The story of Kelly Cahill has been studied and researched by many researchers and ufologists, but nothing new has been uncovered. That said, Kelly was widely considered to be an honest and reliable person, and her case is considered legitimate by many UFO investigators.